Hi, welcome. So glad you're here. We'll let a couple of people tune in. I am Kelley Pitts. I'm a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator since 2005. And tonight we are going to, hi Cindy, I'm glad you're tuning in. Tonight we're going to go over some paper pumpkin alternatives from the June kit that was called Expressions in Color. And it was a fun kit that goes with my favorite DSP, I think, ever, which was the one that goes with the Artistically Inked or Expressions in Ink kit or suite. Hi, Cindy. Glad you're joining us. I will, if y'all give me just a minute to get my comments going here on the iPad and the computer, that helps me out a lot to be able to see what y'all are talking about. So if y'all bear with me for just a minute, I'll get going on it and show y'all some cards. Hope you're doing okay. Are y'all having a crafty happy hour? Thanks. Yeah, I'm a flamingo gal. I have some flamingos in the other part of my craft room that you can't see. Have kind of a flamingo mascot, I guess. So I was feeling like a Floridian today, I suppose, with flamingos. We shall see how that goes. All right, now I'm seeing comments there. Yay. All right, let me get, do y'all have a paper pumpkin kit? Do y'all have the June kit? Either of you who are watching? Hopefully some other people are tuning in, but I can tell a couple of you are watching. How funny, 2 people are watching and you're both named Cindy with names spelled differently. C-Y-N-D-Y and C-I-N-D-Y. I bet you have that a lot with your trying to get that spelled right, because I know I do with Kelley, K-E-L-L-E-Y instead of Y. Everybody else seems to spell it with a Y instead of E-Y. So, all right, I'm going to turn around and get my little cards to show y'all that we're going to do tonight. And show you the paper pumpkin kit itself. If I can figure out what I did with it. I've got so many piles here. Okay. Cindy, is the oh yes for the paper pumpkin kit that you do have this one? It was fun to play with, wasn't it? This Expressions in Color, because it does have the in colors with it. It's like the Expressions in Ink suite, but has the in colors too. So that's exciting. I will go ahead. I've kind of got a mess here on my board I'm about to turn you down to. I guess I'm going to hold up a couple more cards before I switch. Oh, okay. You didn't subscribe to that kit, Cindy. Sorry about that. It was a fun one. It was kind of unexpected color combinations. So I changed it up quite a bit from what Stampin' Up! Had in the instructions. But anyway, that's what it's all about, is our own creativity. And they just kind of give us a particular kit. And it shows I've been paused. I don't know if y'all are still seeing me. Let me know in the comments. My computer shows live video interrupted. So I'm going to hit refresh and see if that comes back up. Hopefully y'all are still there and I didn't lose you. We shall see. Okay. Okay, I lost you for a little bit. Am I back live? I don't know what happened. It said something about my wireless connection, so I may have lost the other Cindy. Sorry. Okay, glad you're back. Okay. Well, I ran out of time to send an invitation to people to remind everybody that I was on tonight. So, hi Susan. Glad you made it. Sorry, we've had a little glitch and went off the air here. I don't know. I think we switched our internet and it doesn't seem to be happy about it. I don't know what's going on, but excuse me. Might have to have a sip of water on that one. Okay, I'm glad we're back. I'm going to show you some of the cards. We've got, this is one of the paper pumpkin alternatives that I did. Just took the simple thank you card, and I'll show you, we'll make one like this tonight. Simple, simple. I left it note card size. Here's another option. Glad you like it. See if I can get the whole card in. And this has the vellum that came in the kit that has the little leaf pattern on it. And then this is the ombre paper that comes in several different colors. This is the more like a bumblebee color. I also have this thanks. Trying to get it close enough for you. It uses a little vellum. The vellum thanks came in the kit, and the little die cuts came in the kit, and this paper, and I chopped that one in half. I'll show y'all how that goes. Here's another one. This is with the other half of that paper. The paper on top is what I cut in half, that flap of the cardstock. So thank you, Susan. I'm glad you like them. Yay. Alrighty, you can earn a kit. I'll get you the cardstock kit to make this. If you have the paper pumpkin kit, I'll get you the cardstock kit if y'all will share the video. How about that? What kind of a deal is that? Okay. I also did 2 other cards that I'm not going to show you tonight. We can't get to all of them, I know. But here's one that I did with the vellum flowers that were in the kit. And it is using the blends on the back of the vellum. And just added a little greeting, put it on a basic white with a textured, this is So Saffron paper. Kind of used the fall colors. I kind of thought those flowers looked fallish, but it has the new Evening Evergreen, Granny Apple Green, and Mossy Meadow leaves. And then this is Cajun Craze and Calypso Coral. And then this is Daffodil Delight. And these little ones are Cajun Craze. Thank you, Cindy. And then I split one, and I really wasn't as pleased with this one. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. But I thought it would be fun to split the flower on that was on the other one. I'm going to use this finger. Maybe that'll help. Nope, I'm still backwards. Still trying to get used to this. But anyway, the flower itself that was on this card is cut in half. You can see. And then I used a totally different color combination. I thought that I wanted to use the polished pink and fresh Freesia together, but then this didn't really match any of the polished pink stuff. Once I used the blend on that back of that vellum, it just didn't work. So I found this paper to coordinate that has the Cajun Craze and polished pink. This is from the Pansy Petals set. So that's just a different layout. And I just, like I said, I wasn't as pleased with this color combination as I was with the other one. So anyway, those were, or are, my alternatives for June. So we will turn the camera around and let y'all kind of see how I did that. And Susan, I know, did you get this kit, Susan? Surely you did, I bet. We just didn't get to come to the Paper Pumpkin class here. Okay, are y'all ready for me to turn the camera down? All right, if you'll be patient with me, I will switch that around. I'll cover up the camera so if anybody gets seasick or something. Let's see here. My little symbol is not working for me. Huh. I don't know how we're going to switch this. Okay, that's not what I want. Hang on. Everything's in a different spot than it was earlier. Here we go. Now I can do it. My goodness. I thought Facebook had changed again in the last few minutes here. Seems like every week there's a little something different. Okay, well, we will start with the simple one. And that is the note card. This kit, here were the cards that this kit, or that Stampin' Up! Suggested with this particular kit. Now is my phone, I don't know if my camera is crooked or my stuff on the counter is crooked. We'll get y'all set there where you can see it. Sorry, there's a little delay and it takes me a minute to get set up. Okay, well, these were the cards that Stampin' Up! Suggested doing in the kit, and I left the note card sized one. I left it like they suggested, and I used this cardstock as it was. I just wasn't crazy about all the different colors on the yellow, so I kind of made some alternate changes there. And then you saw that I cut this one in half and then used the vellum on a totally different card. So that's what they suggested. And I think they're lovely, but I just wanted to go a different route. So we're going to get our little card out. This was the note card that came in the kit. Just the green note card like this. And it came with a big piece of that. It looks like an alcohol ink technique. And that's what I'm going to be doing actually at my next techniques class. That if y'all are in Lubbock on the 25th, I believe, that whatever that Sunday is coming up, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Yes, I believe it's 25th. So I'll be doing an alcohol inks with the blends on vellum. It's kind of Stampin' Up's version of alcohol inks. But the artist here who designed that at Stampin' Up, I think used actual alcohol inks to do this background, and that certainly seems to be a craze right now. And then I thought it would be really pretty to combine that with this paper that is from the Pansy Petals suite. If y'all can tell, that's where that stripe came from. I like the combination of colors there. And all I did was chop off I chopped this piece of paper down. Get that out of the way. Let's see how much I chopped it down. About 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to use that piece on the inside. I used the painted texture folder on it. I don't know if y'all can tell on that one, but I thought that would add a little depth to it. You can't really see it a whole lot because of the pattern in the paper. But I thought that added some to it, added some texture. So that's what we are using. Then we're going to stamp the thanks and put this little strip on the inside. And then I'll show you how I'll put my sample back out so y'all can see that. And we'll get going on it. I've got my little impressions pad here, Stampin' Pierce matte. I've got more pieces of paper than I know what to do with at the moment. Y'all ever getting that in that spot? Okay, I'm going to use one of the labels from the kit. That is this one right here. That's what I use for the thanks. And it already has the evening evergreen outline on it. And we're just going to take the thanks and ink that up with the evening evergreen. And I've got the stamps mounted on the clear blocks. And whenever you get a Stampin' Up paper pumpkin kit, you will get one particular size block that will work with all of the paper pumpkin kits. But I just do a lot better if I have a block that's closer to the actual size of whatever I'm stamping. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this in screen here. I did a Zoom meeting last night and it had a huge area. And then tonight, this seems really small. Okay. And I kind of put the thanks over toward the right hand side. Oops, I need to move up a little for y'all. Move that up so I know where my boundaries are. All right, and we're going to clean that real quick with our Stampin' Chamois. That works great. All right, now I have the little bitty leafy guy. I guess he's like a little tiny branch or a little tiny fern or something. I don't know what he is, some kind of little bitty plant. And you can do these at any angle you want to, just kind of totally up to you. But if you'll just stamp straight down, straight up, try not to wiggle, then you'll get a clear image if you're stamping with the photopolymer stamps and using your Stampin' Pierce mat. And I just have mine covered in grid paper. They actually all come this color. And I just have the grid paper over it to help me line things up. Okay, now, even though I don't have to clean this right this second, I'm going to, just out of habit and to show y'all that's the way you should do it. But when you've got a lighter green color and you're going back to a darker green, you don't have to clean it in between. But I just don't like to mix, to feel like I'm mixing the inks. So we're going to take this one. I keep rearranging stuff here. And whenever you're stamping on a note card or cardstock or anything, if you can do it with it open or one layer, that will usually work better for you. And I just kind of randomly stamped this little leaf pattern. I turned it around and did some with them hanging off, and kind of did 2 rows just in case. I didn't know exactly how far that stripe was going to go, but I just am changing the direction. Some of them are straight, some of them are to the right, some are to the left. Just trying to make a little random pattern here on the border. And I'll show you that close up in just a minute. If y'all didn't notice that on the first one, I wouldn't be surprised because it is very subtle. All right, so there's that little border. I'll hold that up for you so you can kind of see that. That's what we did. Hopefully that's close enough for you to see. All right, close this little ink pad up. Clean this off again. Squeak, squeak. Hope that's not too loud in the microphone there for you. Okay, then I kind of played with this, positioned it where I wanted, and figured out how much of the stripe I wanted to show. And I'm thinking about that much. Now we're going to grab our silicone mat to do some gluing. Move this out of the way. We'll just glue on this. And I think it's easier, and I use liquid glue just because I just need a little along the edge. And whichever way you want to do this, I'm going to do this one opposite the way I did that other one, just to see which way we like the look better. But whatever your favorite liquid glue is, I know Stampin' Up has a good multi-purpose Tombow glue, and everybody seems to have their favorite craft glue. So I would think you could use the tape too. You'll just have to kind of be a little more careful with it. This gives you a little more wiggle room, so if you change your mind on exactly how wide you want the little striped part to be, you can change your mind a little. Now I'm really realizing once we change, sorry, I have not been seeing comments here at all. Now they're back up. Okay, hi Claire. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you liked that little touch. Sorry I was missing all your comments earlier. Yeah, I think that painted textures that came with the art gallery suite, that's what the embossing folder is, Susan, that you like. Okay, so we have our liquid glue, And I just put the stripe on. You can do it if you want to do it flat down on the page, on your silicone mat. If you want to do it up in the air, however you want to, whatever is easier for you to glue it. But as you can see, that's what I was talking about with the wiggle room, so I can kind of get that even. And I'm going to put it on here to make sure I like it before I glue the whole thing down. Yep, I think I like it. So we're going to go ahead and press that down. If you haven't pressed it totally, you can usually get the liquid glue up. So this one's giving me a little fits here. I think I must have a little plug in there I need to get out. I'm going to have to I'll hunt my Tombow in a minute if I can't get this one out. Okay, maybe I have a backup over here. We're going to try this one. And we could use Stampin' Seal. I just forgot to bring any in here, honestly. But Stampin' Seal would certainly work great on this. And I just tried to do kind of an even border all the way around. And whoops, I forgot my ribbon. Were y'all going to tell me that? My comments are gone again. Here we go. Okay. Let's get a little of the twine that came in the kit and wrap that around. Let's see which box I put the twine in. Right here. Should have done that before I put the glue. So if you don't mind it showing on the inside, of course you can do it this way, but I did catch it in time, so we're going to wrap this around a little bit, leave room for me to tie that one. And I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times. And then cut it. And to me, this kind of had a little bit more masculine look to the card. So I did not tie a bow, I just tied a knot. And it would definitely be easier to do this before you put your glue on there. So do as I say, not as I do, right? Okay, we're going to see if our glue is still sticky enough to hold this, or if I need to re-glue. Okay, I think that's going to work. And I just tied a little knot over kind of toward the left. Okay, a little loose, but I think that'll work. And then if you want, you can tuck that under and tie it again so that you're wrapped around all 3 strands. And it makes a little bit bigger knot. And I kind of had these spread out like that. And then we're going to put the little thanks on there. I'm going to use dimensionals on that little guy. If I can find them in my little pile here. I am just a messy person. That's just all there is to it. Here we go. I knew I had them. The hobbits are out again, I guess, taking these. I don't know why my comments keep disappearing on my swipe left. I'm doing that. Oops, sorry, I'm getting off screen. Like I said, last night ruined me for you. I had such a much bigger space on a Zoom than I did on Facebook and didn't realize that. Okay, I should have moved that knot over a little bit, but it's a little too late now. So we're going to cut those little threads off. In fact, I think I'm not even going to let them show. Since I didn't put the knot in the right place, I'm just going to cut those off and we'll just cover that up and maybe center the thanks on this one. We don't have to do it exactly like our sample, just like when you case someone's card, you don't have to do it exactly like they did. You can do it however you want. I'm going to kind of center this one. With the dimensionals. And then what I used on this one, I was going to suggest that maybe we try one of these forever flourishing dies. I think these would be gorgeous, cutting some of these out in vellum, but that takes a little while to get the equipment in and out and in and out. So we're just going to pretend we've got something like this here. On this one, the original one that I did, when I cut this, the full flower that was the full one in vellum, it was just like this, and I cut it in half. I cut this leaf off of this rose. So these leaves are these two right here. Can you see that? These two leaves and this leaf group are the ones that I cut out of the vellum, and I just put them on there. So if you are going to split your vellum flower, you could certainly, whoops, sorry, upside down, and do a card like this, then you'd have those leftover leaves. If not, you could use any set you have and put some vellum leaves, or it could be, you could even cut it out of evening evergreen, whatever you wanted, and put it back here. But I like, this one has texture and this one doesn't. So just kind of showing you two simple little options there. And then I'm just going to stamp on the inside real quickly. We could do this pattern. I want to see what y'all want to see. Would y'all like to see this pattern from the artistically inked stamp set? Or would you like to see, or would you just want to do this little border on the bottom here? Which one would you rather see? And I will. Thanks, Susan. Glad you like it. Would y'all, what do y'all want to see on the inside? I think on the others, I'm going to do this pattern, but I haven't tried it in green. So, do y'all want to see that in green? Glad you like the vellum, Cindy. Artistically inked stamp on the inside. Okay, we're going for that. And when you have an a stamp that is really almost bigger than the ink pad, a lot of times I will flip the ink pad over and stamp with it that way. And I went with the soft succulent. This is really an evening evergreen on the front, but it's kind of works for both, I think. And I'm going to go off of the edge. I'm going to use some even pressure. This is a distinctive stamp, so it's going to have shading in it. It's going to be really gorgeous. There you go. How fun is that? Then you could go with maybe the darker ink color, or you can stick with this one. I think what I'll do is stick with this light color on the bottom, and then I'm going to add a little bit. I'm kind of turning the stamp to go off the corner there. I don't want it going off my little stamp pad. And it's okay to overlap. This is a very flowy kind of design. So we're gonna, isn't that pretty? And that really ties in with the front, I think. You have a lot of shading in there. Okay. So that's a simple card. You could do that. If you didn't want to do that, you could always add this little strip from the front of your card that we cut off, or you can save this and use it on a different card. So that's what we'll do tonight, because we've already jazzed that one up. Or added some, zhuzhed it up, as somebody says. Angela McKay, I think, is the one who says zhuzh. I'm not really sure how to spell that. Hi, Christy. Glad you joined us. Okie dokie. Now, that's the two options kind of for that card right there. Then we will move on to the next one. We're going to go ahead and do the one that has the bumblebee card base. And I have taken, let's go ahead and stamp the You're Amazing. That is from the Paper Pumpkin Kit, the You Are Amazing stamp. And we're going to use one of the little labels that came in the kit right here. And we'll just tap, tap, tap. I'm going to see if I can pull this up just a little bit more. Give us a little more room here. See if that helps. How about that? Now you have a little bit more field of vision, I guess. You've got the iPad in there, but sorry, like I said, when I adjusted it last night for Zoom, it was totally different. Okay, we're going to do the You're Amazing here. Stamp straight down, straight up. Try not to wiggle. Just give it a little bit for it to absorb the ink into the paper. And there we have it. And then I'm going to stamp the flowers. We've got 3 little flowers here in Bumblebee. And the little flowers are in the kit also. Here we go. And I just did 3 of them. I like to do things in odd numbers. I know a lot of demonstrators are that way, it seems like. I don't know what the rule is on that. I just heard that your eye, it's more interesting to your eye if you've got an odd number for it to kind of search around, go around. I'm cleaning this stamp real quick. I didn't really do a good job of that. In case you're wondering what the squeaking noises are. That's what they are. Okay. So we've got the You're Amazing. We just need the little bumblebee flowers. And I like it. I think it's more interesting if some of them are at different angles and they kind of go off the edge a little bit. And you do want to just stamp straight down and straight up once again. I've got most of that flower on. I'm just going to have barely a couple of these leaves. And I'm kind of intentionally wrapping them around that end of the G there. And this one's going to be almost a complete flower. And I'm going to kind of get it around the eye. So you've got that point there. So there's that one. And then the only other stamping we're going to do is on the inside. I'll just set that aside. And then we'll put this together in a second and go ahead and get the stamping done. And what I'm thinking would be pretty is to try this is similar to the Artistically Inked, the big stamp that we just used on the inside of the other card, but this is the one that came in the kit. And I'm going to stamp a little piece of that background, the bumblebee, and then over that, I'm going to stamp in Evening Evergreen the flower stamp that comes in the kit, because I think that's going to be close to being about right. It should look a little artsy. It's not going to match exactly. There you go. And we're still kind of far off, aren't we? We're going to go up again. Sorry, I don't usually have to adjust the camera this much. But I feel like now I have everything in my lap. Okay, I think that's a little better. Do y'all? Y'all like having a little bit more of a view? But the problem is it's a view of my messy desk, right? That's not what you wanted to see. Well, yes, it is autumn card. Of course, just being a Texas Tech gal, it reminds me of Baylor, and that it's the kind of the gold and green of Baylor, but it does, I agree, it does certainly look fallish. So that's an easy way to use that stamp on the inside without having to color and worry about taking time to do all that, because we wanted to show you several cards quickly. And I'm going to clean these real quickly, and we will put the front together. That's all the stamping we have on this one. Okay. Move those out of the way. Those up. Alrighty. I'll get that out of the way. And now, when you have vellum, as you know, y'all are crafters, so you know that vellum a lot of times will show your glue or adhesive through the vellum. So what we're going to do is just basically leave this open. You could put a little glue dot behind where that leaf is, but I think it's held just great with this band across here. So this, I've already pre-cut this little strip into like 1.25 inches, and that's in the Evening Evergreen. And I used the little meadow die, not Quiet Meadow, but the little skinny dies. I'm trying to think, it's something meadow. You've got one that has a lot of leaves like this on the whole die, and then this one is the other one, I mean embossing folder. So what we're going to do is kind of decide where we want that to be on our card, and I kind of like where that is. So I'm going to glue this to the vellum. Get my silicone mat back out again, so I won't make a mess on the background here. I'm glad that view works better for you, Susan. I'll try to get some of this other mess out of the way. We're having ornery glue night. But as I said, this would work with Stampin' Seal. Probably Stampin' Seal Plus would be better since it's textured and it's going onto that textured vellum if you don't have a liquid glue that you like. Okay, I'm going to glue this onto just the vellum part. It does go all the way across, but I'm not going to put it down onto the bumblebee over here. I'm just going to stick it to this right now, to the vellum. And now I know I can go ahead and attach that vellum. I could do it with seal, I could do it with anything, but since we don't have to worry about it showing or not showing, I'm going to give it a good dose of liquid glue. Normally I would use seal, but I would have to run to the other room to get it, so we're just going to do this right here. And now that vellum is secured, it's just great, so no problems there. All right, now we're going to take the greenery from the paper pumpkin kit and carefully take it out of here. These are very delicate, so be gentle when you're taking them out. And sometimes I have found that it's easier kind of to peel the background, peel away what you don't want, as opposed to trying to get up what you do want, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of holding on to that. See, peeling away that back part. Peeling away the back part. The big white piece. And that way you're not pulling on the gentle, the little tiny stems as much if you're peeling the background away while you hold on to the stem. So I think we've got that. And if y'all wanted to, you could save that and use it for a stencil. I am not going to tonight. We're going to chunk it. Okay, and I am going to play with this and arrange it the way I want. I don't want to try to have to work around the way they had it. And I don't have to. So guess what? I'm not going to. Okay. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. Glad you like the little tidbits. I didn't know if I was boring people or what with all the stuff I share, but Okay, now let's go ahead and figure out where we're going to place these. And you can either glue these down with glue dots to the vellum, or some of them you may want to attach from the top, like this one I'd go ahead and glue this one down. You can do glue dots on the leaf itself, but I would just kind of practice with it before you start gluing and get your greeting where you want it. And this is from I believe it's the Tasteful Labels dies. I already cut that out so it'd be quicker tonight. But that is that gorgeous ombre paper. Isn't that pretty? How sparkly that is? And you get a sheet that is kind of yellowish, one that's kind of reddish, one that's kind of purple, and one that's kind of blue, I think, in that. So, okay, so we're going to kind of lay that, get these where we want them. And I always like to have a focal point. I like for things to wrap around so that your eye stays on your card instead of having stuff that points out of the edges. I don't ever want a butterfly or a whatever pointing out of the corner, because your eye follows the embellishments and the focal point that you have. So if you want them to just go straight out of their card or straight to open it, then that's one thing. But I think that something that leads your eye in a circular motion makes them stay on the card longer. Sorry, I had to get a sip of water. So that's why I'm curving these the way I am. Okay, I think I'm going to be pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick some glue dots on the back of this, because I don't want to mess up and get some liquid glue onto the pretty vellum. And you could raise these up if you wanted. You could put Stampin' Dimensionals behind it if you'd like, but I think with this being raised, this one is on dimensionals and this one is on dimensionals, so I decided to keep the leaves flat. And I kind of position it, like I said, like the way I want it, curving up there. And if your glue dot's a little too big, you can just fold that over in the back. Easy peasy. You can even take your pick tool and fold your glue dot over here. You can make it into a little ball. You can roll it in half. And now I've lost my little leaf. Here it is, upside down. I wasn't looking for a white leaf. I was looking for a green leaf. All right. And we've got a little bit we got to stick out of there. Get out of there. Okay, probably 3 on here should be plenty. Okay. And I know kind of where I want that in the angle, but once again, I would put your little piece up here, kind of where it's going to go before you place that. You don't want your little stem sticking out, hanging out over here. Okay, now this one, if you wanted to, let's see, we're going to cut that little bit off. We don't need that. And we may have to cut a little bit more of that stem. Let's see before we glue it. And I think I may go ahead, I'm going to chop. I think I'm going to chop that there. So we have plenty of this. I may even chop that. You know, you're not stuck with just because somebody gives you a die cut that looks a certain way. You're not stuck with using it that way. You use your creativity and decide how you want it to look on your card. That's the whole thing about making a handmade card, is for you to do your thing. Whoops, we're going to put that on top of the yellow. Hang on. So that one is going to need a dimensional back there. We're going to put this on top. Okay. Need another glue dot. Y'all are being very quiet. I'm gonna have the amazing thing sticking over here. Make sure we're good there. Yep. Okay. Just in case that shows, I'll snip that part off. Glue this down. What's everybody having for happy hour? Anybody having anything fun? I'm just sticking to my water. Okay, now we're gonna go here. And I'm gonna glue this one down. And try to just glue the ones that are sticking, that you're gonna stick to that yellow piece. Okay, so all these are stuck. But I do have some little glue dots sticking up there, so I'm going to take some dimensionals, or mini dimensionals, maybe, if I have minis handy. If I don't, I'm going to use a little bit of this. Just going to use a teeny tiny bit of that back and put it back here on these, because the yellow piece, the yellow die, is going to be raised. So we're going to raise the leaves up. Make sure they have a backing to stay the same height that the label does. And all of our other leaves are flat. See if we can get that whole thing on there. Possibly. Yikes. Nope, too big. Boy, we would have needed a half a mini there. I think I'm off camera, sorry. Peeps. Iced tea, boring, yeah. Oh, Susan, you're going. Now, I don't know why you're going to waste that Coke. I'd just stick with the straight bourbon. Oh, my goodness. I'm a Jack girl. If I want to talk about bourbon or whiskey, I like my Jack Daniels, and sometimes I go with ginger ale. Have y'all tried Jack and ginger? You ever tried that one, Susan, if you're a bourbon gal? Okay. Whoops. Y'all tell me. I am not with it tonight. I got to put my dimensionals on here. And I am not throwing these in the floor. I do have a trash can below me. So I am taking care of that. Alrighty. I think that looks pretty good. Now we're going to get a little rhinestone out of the kit. Or, let's see. We had some come in the kit. I am really using a lot of this stuff up. Yes, here we go. Not rhinestone, but sequin. Got some sequins here out of the Paper Pumpkin kit. And these Take Your Pick tools are just awesome for getting sequins off. And I was going to tell you, by the way, these are... They are iridescent, but some of them look more green and some of them look more pinky kind of colored. So and some are really pretty clear with just a little touch of color. I don't know if y'all can see that on the screen, but it was a wonderful set of sequins that they provided for us. So I'm kind of going with more of the greenish ones since we'll use the pink ones on the other cards. And I'm just putting these in the center of the flowers. I'm going to use one clear. But these Take Your Pick tools make it easy, that putty end. I really like that. There's kind of one that's kind of gold and one that's kind of green and one's more white. So, oh, that worked out cute with that little green line is right in the middle of that sequin. Isn't that a happy accident? Looks pretty. Alrighty, now I'm going to grab some Wink of Stella. Y'all would not believe my pile here that I've got going. I know I brought one in here. Here we go. And we're gonna snazz those flowers up just a little bit. Give that a little Wink of Stella. Make them match their little sequin. And it matches with this being all glittery. So we'll raise that up on dimensionals too. Try to let that dry a second before I smear it, because the Wink of Stella can smear. Alrighty. Here we go. And there we have it. Now, do I have bow people watching? Do y'all want a green bow like this one? Or do you like it without the bow? I know some people are more bow people than others, so we'll just see. Susan, that Jack and Ginger really has a nice, it really just has a nice kick to it. A nice different flavor than Coke does with it, so. What do you think? Do you want to see a ribbon on both, or do you like having one with, one without? Or do you want a knot, or do you want a double bow? What sounds good? We've got a bow. You want a double bow, or you just want a regular bow? I love the bow. Okay. Alrighty then. Bow it is. Bow it shall be. And I don't have my little bow jig over here, so we're going to do the best we can. Sometimes if you'll kind of straighten your twine on the edge of your desk or table, whatever you're working with, it kind of helps get the kinks out a little bit. With ribbon, you can even use a straightening iron if you've got one for your hair. You can use something like that. You just have to be really careful and test it first on one little area. Make sure you don't get it too hot and burn your ribbon. But usually with twine, you can get it to cooperate a little better just by rubbing it on the desk or table. This one's being ornery now that I say that, but you can fix that with a glue dot. There we go. A little force. And if you're going to tighten up the bow, be sure and hold the knot in the middle when you start pulling on either of the loops to straighten it up. Okay, we'll give that a little snip and stick that on a glue dot. I'm going to go ahead and kind of roll that glue dot into a little ball and then stick it kind of where we want it. I kind of liked it over there on the right. With the little tails hanging down, what do you think? Do you like the card? Again, it's kind of a little bit Baylor gold. But I do like with the little tying in the flower on the inside. So you've got some of the little branch or stems and flower, and that all ties together. So nice, nice, nice. I love that vellum with that leaf pattern on it. I think that's really pretty. So there you go. That's that card. Now we're going to move to the next set, and you actually make two different cards kind of out of one by adding a. We're going to make out of one base. We're going to make both of these cards. So I'll grab that box and show you what I did here. Get these out. And we'll have the thanks. This is the little vellum sheet that came in the kit. And it has merci, danke, and thanks. So you could use any of those. If you have overseas relatives or friends, you could send those, or you can just do the plain old thanks for the US of A, folks. And we're going to pull that out. That's all we're going to need for this card on here. And I think we've got that mounted. Get our colors out. See what all else we need. See how much I can junk up the tabletop here. Where y'all are. Okay, so here we go. This is this one. And then the other piece. Hang on, and I'll find this one. See, are they both in here? Nope. Okay. Here we go. Okay, in your kit, you got pieces. This is the card base right here, and it was all one piece like this. Okay, so all I did was cut that off and cut it in half. It should be in half. I was a little bit off, I think, on there. I did 2 1/4 or 2 1/8 instead of 2 1/4. But that's all you do is cut that off, and then one card is going to use this as the base, and we're going to add a piece of Blackberry Bliss in 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to add that in there, and this has that painted textures embossing folder done to that one. And then that's the one that we're going to make into this thanks. Then the other card, I have a full Blackberry Bliss card base that is the full 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And then we're going to actually lay this on top of that and make this card. So out of that one card base, all we did was add some Blackberry Bliss to come up with these 2 cards. Which one do you want to make first? Y'all have a preference? The celebrate or the thanks? I'm also going to show you an option on the thanks to show you how you can color with your blends on the vellum. Just a sec here. Whoops, that's some good stuff. Uh-oh, I said I was going to. Let's see if I can find looking for my blend, my polished pink blend. Y'all hang on just a minute and check out these 2 cards while I go get my little polished pink blend here. Seems to be MIA. I'll be right back. Let's see. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Nope. I'll be right back. Let's see here. That seems to be the only blend that is missing. And the markers don't work quite as well, so I guess we're not going to demo that after all. Sorry, peeps. I used that in a class and evidently didn't get it back in it where it belonged. So on this one, the thanks I just left as it was, so that's what we'll do tonight. I just wanted you to kind of see what we could do with that. Let me look one more spot. Thank you. Glad you like the layout. Okay. All right. We're going to, We'll start with the Celebrate card instead of the Thanks, in case I think of another place that I could possibly look for that blend while I'm working here. Okay. We will set this aside with the Thanks. Easy for me to say, right? Now, we'll we've got this little piece here, and we're going to do the same thing. Pull this apart, kind of pull the outside away from the little berries and stems and all that. Kind of pull away what we don't want. Because these are really delicate. This is thin paper. If y'all didn't get this paper pumpkin kit, or if you have it and you haven't had time to play with it, I'm just warning you to be careful with it because it's easy to rip these. Alrighty, now we've got we've got a pink one and a purple one. The kit came with 3 of each of these sheets. With the green, it had the green and the pink and purple all on one sheet. I just split them up and did the green with the gold and left the pink and purple together rather than mixing them all up. All right, and again, you could use this if you wanted to try to use that as a stencil and use sponges or something on it for a different card. You could certainly do that. All righty, we're gonna trim these like we did those others. So I'm going to have 3 of those. Then this one I made into, and you do have some little spaces in between there that you do need to get out. All right. Then I used this full piece, I believe was right here for this card. And then I used this little bit and I cut this into 2 also. So I made 4 pieces out of the pink and 3 out of the purple. And you do have a little bit of stuff in between there too, so before you stick it on the card, it's easier to get that off. Okay, so we're going to set aside 1 of these to go with this card. And we're going to set aside 2 of these. I'm going to take, let's take both of those for that card. And then we'll use these on this card. Okay. See what I did with the outside. This is the one and I've already done the inside of this one, and I did this just like we did a while ago with the green, and I was going to show you the 2 color on it, but I thought, well, I'll just show you the 2 color on this. This I stamped with the fresh Freesia down here with the artistically inked stamp, and then I used the stamp that came out of the kit in the polished pink here. And some of it is stamped off and some of it is full strength. But I think that'll make a really pretty inside for the card. Okay, so I'll set that aside. We'll use our bone folder, get this crease to be really crisp here. And all we do is glue the part that we cut off of that flap. Remember, we cut it off of here, off of this card base. We had 3 of these card bases, so you could actually make 6 cards from that. Okay, and I think I liked the pink up here where it was kind of separate. And then I cut these. I just thought these were, I liked the way the curves kind of accentuated the curves in the bubbles, or I think of these as bubbles, and I thought they looked kind of like bubbles. This is the one from Basic Borders Dies, and we used it on a previous paper pumpkin as a cloud. But I'll show you this basic Borders dies set. If you don't have that, this one is in the annual catalog, and it doesn't have a matching stamp set or anything with it. It's just a separate die set by itself. So this is the one that looks like clouds or bubbles or whatever you want to make it to be. And it has some great other borders that you can use on all kinds of cards, and it shows the stitching. So I really think that's pretty. So we're going to attach the fresh Freesia bubbles. We're calling it bubbles. We'll attach that to this piece before we do anything with it. And make sure I've got my pink at the top. Yes. Okay, so I'm gluing this to the bottom. You could either put the glue on this card or the other, this side or that side, whichever one you think is easier. We're going to get my silicone mat out and make sure you have the stitching going the right way. So I'm looking at the back of both. I'm looking at the back of the bubbles and the back of the artistically inked, and I'm just kind of barely pushing that down till I see if that's about where I want it. I think I want that a little bit tighter. So once again, that's kind of why I like a little liquid glue, so you have that option of being able to ease that a little bit. I think that's kind of where I want it. Let's look real quick on the card. Yep, that leaves us plenty of room for our berries. Okay, and then we'll just play with these, and I stuck the berries, I'm calling them berries. Is that what y'all think they are? Hi, Kelly Gary. I'm so glad you tuned in. I miss you too. Hope you're doing great in Fredericksburg. Good to see your name pop up. Okay, we have the little berries. And once again, I'm going to practice with the layout first before I glue anything down so I can make sure how I want it to look. And I think we're just going to take that off. I don't know if I tore a leaf off or what I did, but nevertheless, I think that's where that's going to be there. And this one's going to swoop around this way. Okay. There we go. Leave that. Okay. Make sure we're still not really in the screen enough, are we? Move this up. There we go. Okay, move these out of the way. And I'm going to take a little bit of glue dot, or you could use liquid, but you can make a mess when you're moving it around. So I'm just going to stick with the glue dots. And I don't have this glued down yet, so you can glue it as long as you glue just this part and don't glue this. But if you glue this flat, then you don't have anywhere to tuck your little stems and everything underneath. So we want to curve those in again so it leads your eye in. Okay, and I'm just spacing them purple, pink, but if you wanted all your pinks in the middle, you just go for it. Whatever you like. It's your card, you create it how you want. And since these are so delicate, a lot of times I will leave things sticking up and not try to get all of it glued down, just so you have some texture and depth. But since these are so delicate, I think that might be a little dangerous. I think they would hook on the envelope if you did that. So I'm trying to get most of them, if they're sticking up, I'm trying to stick them down. That makes sense. I'm not putting a glue dot on every single one, but quite a few of them. Any of them that once you get it glued down, if they're still sticking up, then I would go ahead and put a glue dot underneath. And I'm sticking that, kind of holding this down with my fingers. And I got that a little too far up. We're going to pull that back up, pull it down. Whoops. You got to worry about exactly where those bubbles are going to go, because you don't want the glue dot showing behind there. Okay. I think that's going to be about right. And then we'll probably just, could have been over a little bit more, but that's okay. We are trying to keep this in an hour so y'all don't have to put your pajamas on while you watch the end of the video. All right, and there's a little of the pink. Okay, so I'll probably go ahead and glue dot this little guy down here on the end to make sure he didn't get hung up on the envelope. Okay. There's that. Now we can glue this. Whoops, we got a straggler, a glue dot hanger on, a hanging chad of a glue dot. Then I'm just going to use my liquid glue there. Y'all could use Stampin' Seal if you want. And I thought it looked better with a little bit of that Blackberry Bliss peeking out from this side rather than putting this all up to the top, but that's totally up to you. However you want to do it. Okay, and we're going to try to line that up so it's not hanging off the edge too much. If it is, you always want to, if you're going to trim a card, if you've got an edge sticking off, you don't want to try to do it from the front. You always want to do it from the back. And you can just trim that up a little bit. Okay. There we go. Now we've got to do our little celebrate, and I'll let y'all decide if you want, do you like the pink one or do you like the Blackberry Bliss one better? I can stamp another pink one to put over here, or we can use the Blackberry Bliss. On this one, I actually outlined the label, and this is from the Hippo and Friends, Happy Hippo and Friends dies, this label, and I use Blackberry Bliss just around the edge to kind of make that darker. Okay, so we could do the opposite. We can try the pink, and I'll show you how. Since Cindy said Blackberry Bliss, we'll go ahead and use that blackberry one. And then I will, and the Celebrate came out of the Create with Friends set. And it has amazing Celebrate, Friends, Create, Love, and then you can play with Happy, Hello, Best, Let's, so you can say Amazing Together, or Celebrate Together, or Welcome Friends, or Create, or Let's Create. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to play with that set. So I thought that was a fun one, and that's what we used. It fit great on that label, so that's what we did. And I took the marker and just went, I kind of held it at an angle and just went along the edge. And I'm not trying to lay it flat and totally go on that edge, because that is just practically impossible to get that perfect if you do that. So all I'm doing is just coloring the very, very edge, the very, very tip. I'm not trying, there's part of this label that is kind of embossed or debossed, kind of two layers there. It's kind of has an outline around it. And so I'm just kind of accentuating that edge so it'll pop a little more from the background. So y'all can see how easy that is. And if you've never done it before, I would try it on something that you haven't already stamped just for practice. But it really is pretty easy if you do it that way. Now if you laid this flat and tried to do it like this, whoo, you're a better woman than I if you can if you can make that happen and make that even. I'll tell you that for sure. Okay, we're going to do the Celebrate, and I will raise that up on dimensionals. And then we're going to, before we do that, we'll go ahead and put the ribbon on. And I wrapped it. I really liked the color on the inside on this one. I know some people don't like that look, but I kind of like the two-tone because I was going to put this here. So I thought that brought out that fresh Freesia color. So that's totally up to you. If you don't want to put the ribbon on the inside, then you would wrap it around the card first before you glue this whole thing down. But I'm happy to do it this way. And I have to, for some reason, I have to do my bows and knots upside down. I know that sounds a little goofy, but that's just the way it is. I'm a little goofy. Okay, I'm just wrapping this around, and I'm thinking a knot is just fine. Oops. I think that's gonna go, I usually go right over left. Get that about where we want it. You can always adjust it since we're doing it this way. Right over left, then left over right, and pull more. I think I'm doing this backwards. Hang on. I think I'm going to do this from the other side. That just feels wrong somehow. Okay, here we go. Right over left, and then if you've got a partner there who can put their finger there for you, that'd be great. But otherwise, you have to figure out how to do it yourself. Kind of hold the ribbon tight right in the middle there of that knot, and then you've gone right over left. Now you're going left over right, and pull more on the left. So you're pulling harder and more on the left. And that will give you more of a square, flat knot. If you're not pulling evenly on both sides, you pull more on that left after you do it that way. So hopefully y'all could see that. We're just going to snip those ends. And then you can totally adjust where you want your knot or bow. Do y'all want to see it on the left? And we can put the Celebrate over there on the right. Kind of show you a different way to do it from that other card. It's going to work kind of the same way. We'll just do that the opposite. There we go. And I just kind of line that up. I think the ribbon helps hide that dividing line between this DSP and this solid piece. I just think that that's a pretty effect to do it that way. So we're going to raise this up on dimensionals, and this card, I really like to Celebrate because it can be anniversary, it can be birthday, it could be a promotion, it could just be anything. So that's very flexible. If you leave the inside open, then you can do whatever you want with it. Make it work for a lot of different people, a lot of different occasions. Okay, that seems a little wobbly. So I'm going to put one more underneath here on the bottom because it seems to just be, yeah, that helps make it a little more sturdy. There we go. And that's the Fresh Freesia ribbon. Fresh Freesia is one of the new in colors this year. And I think it is a beautiful one. I really like all the in colors this year, and I like how well they play together. Because sometimes they play, a couple of them play well together, but they don't all five play well together. And this time I think they do. Okay, I think our wings are a little big there. We're going to snip them just a tad. And always snip those at an angle. Oh yeah, wedding, yeah. This could certainly be wedding. Okay, one other little trick I did on this card is using my Wink of Stella, the glitter brush. I went just along the edge here of where that stitching is on the basic borders dies, and I'll show you this up close in a moment. But I just did that little edge since we do have the little sparkly sequins also. And then I Wink of Stella these, and you could certainly see some of these I raised up with dimensionals, little mini dimensionals. I just didn't want to make y'all have to suffer through that. It takes a little longer, so we didn't do that on this option, but I can go back and add dimensionals if we want. Okay, now we're going to get some of the pinkish colored ones, sequins, pink or clear, pink, purple, clear, and I'm just going to kind of do what we did here. That's kind of purple. That's, I don't know if that's blue or purple or what. Okay, and then I thought it needed one right there. And now, since our layout is a tiny bit different, see it's different where the bubbles are and then where we did that. So we may want these in a different spot. I think I'm going to put that a little bit lower there. And there we go. Let me show you how that Wink of Stella sparked that up right there. See if I can get that where you can see it. Can you see that around that little outline edge on those? Try to get that where you can see it. So we've got a little Wink of Stella on the little berries, and we've got more on the ones on the right than we do on the left. Yay! I saw a heart, I think, floating up there, so thank y'all. Glad you like them. Which one do you like better? Do you like the bow on the left or the bow on the right better? Which card do you like better? While I get set up for the next one. Do y'all have a preference? Do you like Celebrate on the right or left? Or both? Y'all are being quiet. That's quite all right. Okay, we're gonna move on. Looks like y'all don't have it doesn't matter, you like both. And of course, by the way, I would put this on the inside. We won't glue it right now, but because y'all know how to glue. But I think that is really pretty on the inside, don't y'all? Okie dokie. We're gonna move on to this last card that I'm gonna show you. And this one, we're going to take the rest of the leaves and berries. And I'm just going to put glue on this flap so that I don't have to guess how far the glue goes on this flap. And I'm going to kind of lay that in there, and we're probably going to have to chop it just a little bit. I think it's going to be a little long. And I'm just trying to line it up where it's even on all the sides and push that down. It's a little off at the top here, but we can slice that. All right, now, if only we had our polished pink marker. I can do the light one. I just don't know what happened to my dark. I'm gonna look one more, give it one more glance here. See if I might have it. I don't. I'll show you the light polished pink just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about with this, how you can color the vellum. Or maybe, no. No. Okay, I'm going to give up. All right, I think it's just not meant to be. So, let's see what time it is. Whew. Dang, it's already late. Okay, we're not going to color that. I was just going to say that you can take your blends and color on the back of the vellum. We can try it real quick. I guess y'all are diehards or you wouldn't still be here, right? And the dark blends show up a lot better than the light, but like I said, I haven't been able to find my dark polished pink since I had the class here the other day. So I may have put it up wrong somehow. But if you do this on the wrong side of the vellum, then it just kind of shows through that color some on the other side, and you can actually layer it more than once. And I always try to leave my blends kind of on the side so that I'm not mashing down on that tip, because I want to keep the tips fresh as long as I can, so that if I'm doing something detailed, I actually have a brush tip to use to do that. When you're doing something like this, if you're using the tip like this and just pushing down on it, you're just wasting away that tip, and pressing on it and putting too much pressure can smush it. And it's not necessary on something like this. Just use the side like that. I'm trying to make it more like a dark by going over it several times. And it doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be all the same. It's going to be lighter on the other side. So there you go. And this does need to be with the blends, so that because it's an alcohol marker, it'll dry a lot faster that way. See, you can tell it's already drying. If that were regular ink, it would not dry that quickly. Okay, while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and get our little mini dimensionals on these. If only I had my mini dimensionals. Alrighty. We're just going to cut these in little pieces, since I can't seem to find my minis. It was really fun. I don't know if y'all have done a class on Zoom, but I really had a fun class last night. It was with Ollie, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, that is for folks over 50. And it was just quite delightful to get to do Zoom so that I could see everybody else. Everybody had their kit, and they worked at the same time that I was working. I was kind of doing the instruction, and then they were making their kit while I was making mine. So they could ask questions, and I could actually see them on screen and see them reacting. And so it's a little easier than a little easier than just the comments on Facebook. I don't really have that much. Whoops, I forgot one little trick I was going to show you too. And I cut this piece of vellum. I wanted something in between these two pieces, but I wanted something different than the Freesia ribbon that we used on the first one. But even though this kit says that it has polished pink in there, this pink is really not the same as that pink to me. So I didn't really like the polished pink ribbon, and this is half of it. I cut it even smaller because it was really, really kind of too bright for me with the wide one. So I decided I wanted something, and so I decided I was just going to cut some of the vellum off of the edge of this sheet that was in the kit. So I just took this off of here. I just took a little sliver right off of there. And we're just going to glue dot it down because it's going on top of the designer series paper that was in the kit. Take a pick tool. that one. Let's glue the middle first. Duh. And I'm just going right along that edge, and by the time you smush that glue dot, it looks just about like one of these little dots in here, so you don't have to worry about it. Sometimes when the glue shows through the vellum, it's obvious, hey, she stuck a glue dot there. But in this instance, it's not obvious. So we get to be sneaky. All right, so I just put it on there and then trimmed it off. Once again, you always trim it from the back, not from the front. Okay, so that's all it takes, 3 little glue dots there. And we will show you what the thanks looks like with a little bit of pink on there. See how you have a little subtle color? Look at the difference in that and that. Whoops, low battery. I gotta plug in. Emergency, emergency. Let's see here, we're gonna take this like that. Whew. Sorry about that, I had to stop and plug my phone in. Okay. Can you see the thanks there? You can see how the alcohol marker changed that quite a bit. Hopefully you can see on camera. It's pretty subtle. With the dark polished pink, it would be a lot easier to see. Okay, but I think that's still pretty. We're gonna close that. All right, now we're going to, I felt like since it has this texture in here, I kind of rolled up, crunched up the glue dot under this white, the white part, I guess you would call it, the heavier part of the lettering, the font. And I just crunched it up instead of having a particular circle that you could see, because it does kind of show through this part of the vellum. But that is weird. Did y'all see that? That moved right under that card. Somebody is saying thanks, and I am very thankful. I'm thankful y'all are watching. I'm thankful y'all are customers. I'm thankful y'all are part of my Create with Kelley crew. I'm glad y'all tuned in tonight. And we are almost done. Okay, I'm going to put the thanks there. I'm going to move it up just a tad from that last one. Okay, move this over. We'll get this yucky cardboard out of the way. Now that that's done. Okay, but here's what I meant on the little crunchy on the dots instead of just a circle dot. I think it doesn't show quite as much as a circle would, but that one's more circular. So now we've lost our purple berries. I just had them. Let's see if they were, here we are. They were stuck on the cardboard. Okay, we've already got dimensionals on this one. This one is kind of in the middle, and I had his little tail. I chopped that off, and then I stuck that little tail just underneath there, underneath the T. Try to keep it from sticking to you and make sure it's sticking to the paper where you want it. Okay. Now I'm probably going to need a little bit of a glue dot there to hold that little thing under my T. There we go. And now we'll put a little dimensional under here. And we are just about good to go. Aren't these colors gorgeous? I love Blackberry Bliss. And I love the new polished pink and the new fresh Freesia. I think they are just gorgeous together. I'm going to go ahead and dimensional all of that. And if you have the little foam adhesive strips or the mini dimensionals, that'd be a lot better than trying to chop up the big ones, but this certainly works in a pinch. And I would probably put a little more if we weren't kind of in a time crunch here. Sorry I'm holding y'all so long. And I got new Christmas paper today. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. And it is in these pink tones. There's one of them that's pinks. So evidently pink is in this Christmas season. I don't change my colors for Christmas. I kind of coordinate the colors with my house and my furniture and rugs and all that. I don't really change it with the seasons. Do y'all change up your Christmas decor every year to match the trendy colors and themes? I know we're talking about Christmas in July, but it seems to be all of a sudden. It's not that far away. And we have a lovely holiday catalog. And if any of you if you don't have a demonstrator and you're watching, I would love to send you a catalog. If you will send me an email at Kelley, K-E-L-L-E-Y, at createwithkelley.com. And I'll be glad to send you one. Because you will be able to order out of the catalog, out of the holiday catalog. Customers will be on August 3rd. So that's exciting. We have, I feel like we just got our new annual catalog, and now we're already talking holiday stuff. So, and I'm kind of bending that leaf up a little bit because I really want it to all flow together. There, we've got that. We're going to use a couple more sequins, little wink of Stella, and we will be good to go. I thought they needed a couple of sequins up here on top. Couple, 3. Put one in that little bubble. Then we'll put a couple on here. And we usually do odd numbers, so I'm going to do 5 or 7. Whoops. Lost that one, didn't I? All right, let's get a little wink of Stella after it. And I did the wink of Stella on the vellum stripe there in between to give that a little glimmer. Little glimmer, little glitter. And then I put the wink of Stella on the berries and leaves. And all of these die cuts, like I said, if you don't have this Paper Pumpkin kit, Paper Pumpkin is a monthly craft kit that you can subscribe to, and you get a surprise each month. They do kind of give us a little bit of a hint the month before on what it's going to be like and kind of the theme. But it is a surprise exactly what it entails, what it contains each month. But it always has a stamp set and at least one Stampin' spot that is the ink color, and then it will have card bases or whatever it takes to make the project. Sometimes it's 3D projects, but usually it's cards. And it is a wonderful kit for $22 a month. So I'd be glad to chat with you about that if y'all want to know more about Paper Pumpkin. But all of the things came out of the kit, all the die cuts, everything except that Blackberry Bliss cardstock that is a coordinating color with the kit. And they always tell you in advance what the coordinating colors are so you can be prepared and have your cardstock and accessories if you want to change up from what Stampin' Up suggests. So there we have our card. Who wouldn't love to get that? I actually gave one the other night. A friend of ours invited us over for dinner, and I took them a thank you, and she was really impressed. She's never made a card, so she's probably not as impressed as she would be had she made a card before. But anyway, I was proud to take it over, and I stamped the envelope to match, And I would go ahead and do the same kind of thing like we did earlier on that card and stamp the inside. But since it's this late, we're not going to go there. And I've got that a little crooked, so I'll trim that up. But what do y'all think of this card? Anybody have a comment? I think I've lost everybody. So, sorry it took so long, but hope you learned something. Thanks for the heart. I'll turn you back up real quick, the camera, and say goodbye. And thanks for tuning in. And please share. If you have some crafty friends, I would appreciate that a lot. Just a sec. Okay. Here we are. Thank you for being patient and tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. Hope you've gotten some ideas and have become inspired or interested in paper pumpkin, or interested in doing some alternatives with your paper pumpkin if you haven't already filled out your kit yet. And I would love to know what your favorite card is out of the ones that we made tonight. I don't know if I can even hold them all up. We've got the celebrate one and the thanks one. And let's see, where's our celebrate? Right here. I can't even see myself, so I don't know what I'm doing. We have a little delay there, so here we go. Which one do y'all like the most? Anybody have opinions? Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Glad y'all enjoyed it. And I hope you have a wonderful week. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'll be glad to earn your business. And if you are a demonstrator, I'm happy to have you tune in too. I always learn from others and hope I can teach you as well. So we're glad to have everybody here. Thanks again, and tune in to my blog. I'm trying to get better and get newsletters out and all that. Just, it's hard to juggle everything with a full-time job too. So hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Wednesday at 7:15 for our Crafty Happy Hour again. All right, thanks for tuning in. Fun times ahead. Bye-bye.